probably like most other Americans who follow politics. There are days where I can go to my computer and look at Facebook or Twitter right here on my screen and think, wow, isn't this inspiring the way it affects the political process? Look at how people get involved who didn't before. Look at how they talk to each other. Look at how I can see a story from someplace in the country I never would have seen before, and people are sharing it or they're banding together for something they believe in. Terrific. Then there are other days where, someone will send me something, I'll look at a blog or I'll look at Twitter and I'll think, how can people be so coarse or so thoughtless? How can our political discourse be so miserable? And how much more can we shrink the cycle of information? Why do I need to know what happened 30 seconds ago and then 30 seconds later? And how do we have our faces so pressed up against the glass all the time? But I think it's really important to remember, and I tell myself this, that we are in the wild west of this new technology. We're at the very beginning, the very first moment where nothing is shaken out yet. And it's not clear which technologies will survive. To use an analogy, will it be beta or VHS? I mean, what websites will have the most influence? How will people connect to politics? And people who grew up with the technology will use it, I think, in a different way, perhaps more constructively than the early adapters to it. So, I think if you went and looked at radio in the 1920s or TV in the early 1960s, some of that would be ennobling and some of that would be troubling, but it would not give you a very clear sense of how radio or television were really going to affect the political process or the culture in America, because so much had to evolve and change, and people had to get comfortable with it. And so I think, when we look at social media today, we have to remember that we're seeing, the Big Bang, the beginning of the cosmos, and there's a lot of time for this all to shake out, and we should be excited about the technology and thoughtful about where it's headed.